For 15 years, I thought Lisa was the perfect wife, loving, supportive, managing our finances while I focused on my business. But 3 years before she filed for divorce, I noticed small things. New jewelry she claimed was fake, expensive trips she said were work conferences, and most suspicious of all, she suddenly wanted to handle all our money matters alone. What Lisa didn't know was that before I started my construction business, I had worked as a forensic accountant for 8 years. I knew exactly what financial deception looked like. So when I started seeing the warning signs, I didn't confront her. Instead, I began the most comprehensive financial investigation of my life, on my own wife. My name is David Patterson. I'm 45 years old, and this is the story of how my ex-wife tried to steal $500,000 in marital assets, how she almost got away with it, and how my forensic accounting background helped me expose one of the most elaborate asset-hiding schemes I'd ever seen. I met Lisa in 2007 at a friend's wedding in Chicago. She was 28, working as a marketing coordinator, beautiful, intelligent, and had this amazing laugh that could light up a room. I was 32, recently laid off from my forensic accounting job at a major firm, and trying to figure out my next career move. We connected immediately. Lisa was fascinated by my accounting background, always asking questions about how I could track money and investigate financial crimes. It's like being a detective, she'd say, but with numbers instead of fingerprints. We got married in 2008, right in the middle of the financial crisis. My forensic accounting skills were in high demand, but I wanted something different. I'd always been interested in construction and real estate, so I used my savings to start Patterson Construction Company. Lisa was incredibly supportive during those early years. She handled our personal finances, managed the household budget, and even helped with some of the business bookkeeping. "You focus on building the company," she'd say. "I'll make sure our money is working for us." And it worked beautifully. My construction business grew steadily, and by 2015 we were doing very well financially. We bought a beautiful house in suburban Denver, took nice vacations, and built up a substantial investment portfolio. Lisa seemed happy, and I was grateful to have such a supportive partner. The first red flag appeared in early 2020, but it was so subtle I almost missed it. Lisa had always been the one to check our mail, but suddenly she was racing to the mailbox every day before I got home. When I asked about it, she said she was expecting some work documents and didn't want them sitting outside. Then I noticed she had become very secretive about her computer. She used to leave it open on the kitchen counter, but now she always closed it when I walked into the room and had added a password that she wouldn't share. The third warning sign was her sudden interest in learning about investments. Lisa had never cared about financial planning before, but now she was reading investment books, watching financial YouTube channels, and asking detailed questions about cryptocurrency and offshore banking. "I want to be more involved in our financial future," she explained when I asked about her newfound interest. "You're so busy with the business, maybe I can help diversify our investments." At the time, I thought it was great that she was taking more interest in our finances. But my forensic training had taught me that sudden behavioral changes around money are always worth investigating. In summer 2020, I started noticing small discrepancies in our accounts. Our joint checking account had several withdrawals labeled investment transfers. But when I asked Lisa about them, she gave vague answers about moving money to better interest rates. The amounts weren't huge, $3,000 here, $5,000 there, but they were consistent. I also noticed that Lisa had started receiving mail from financial institutions I didn't recognize. When I asked about them, she said they were just promotional materials, and quickly threw them away. The biggest red flag came in September 2020. Our credit card statement showed a $15,000 charge to something called Global Asset Management LLC. When I asked Lisa about it, she said it was a financial planning service she had hired to help with our retirement planning. "Why didn't you discuss this with me first?" I asked. "You're always so busy," she replied. "I wanted to surprise you with a comprehensive financial plan." That night I couldn't sleep. My forensic instincts were screaming that something was wrong. A $15,000 charge to a company I'd never heard of, for services I didn't know we needed, paid without my knowledge or consent. In October 2020, I made a decision that would change everything. I was going to investigate my own wife using every forensic accounting technique I knew, but I had to be extremely careful. If Lisa was hiding assets, any sign that I was onto her could cause her to accelerate her plans or cover her tracks more carefully. First, I began monitoring our joint accounts more closely. I set up account alerts on my phone for any transaction over $1,000 and started taking screenshots of our account balances daily. Second, I hired a private investigator named Chen. I didn't tell him I suspected financial fraud. I just asked him to conduct general surveillance to see if Lisa was having an affair. If she was moving money, there might be another man involved. Third, I began what I called passive financial surveillance. When Lisa left her purse around the house, I would quickly photograph any receipts or bank cards I found. When she took phone calls about financial matters, I would listen from another room. What I discovered over the next 6 months was shocking. Chen's surveillance revealed that Lisa was making regular trips to banks I'd never heard of. She had opened at least 3 new accounts at different institutions, all without my knowledge. The receipts in her purse showed purchases of prepaid credit cards, money orders, and something called precious metals storage fees. Most damning of all, I discovered she had been using our home computer to research topics like hiding assets in divorce, cryptocurrency storage, and offshore banking for beginners. In March 2021, I found the smoking gun. Lisa had left her laptop open while she took a shower, and I saw an email from someone named Marcus Rodriguez, international banking specialist. The email discussed finalizing the transfer of remaining funds to your Cayman Islands account. I quickly took photos of the email and saw references to account numbers, transfer amounts, and something called a legal asset protection strategy. But the most shocking discovery was a folder on her desktop labeled Financial Independence Plan. Inside were dozens of documents showing a systematic operation to move our marital assets into accounts and investments that only she controlled. The scope was breathtaking. $85,000 moved to cryptocurrency wallets in her name, only $120,000 transferred to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, $150,000 used to purchase gold and silver stored in a private vault, $95,000 invested in real estate. Through a shell company, she had created $50,000 in various domestic accounts under different variations of her name. The total was over $500,000, nearly 80% of our liquid assets. By April 2021, I knew Lisa was planning to file for divorce soon. The financial moves were accelerating, and she had become increasingly distant and argumentative at home. I faced a crucial decision: confront her immediately or continue gathering evidence. My forensic training told me to gather more evidence. In asset hiding cases, documentation is everything. I contacted my old colleague Sarah Mitchell, still working as a forensic accountant, and asked her to help me trace the financial transactions I had discovered. I couldn't tell her it was about my own wife, so I presented it as a hypothetical case study. Sarah's analysis was devastating. "Whoever did this," she said, "planned it very carefully. They used sophisticated techniques, shell companies, crypto conversions, international transfers. This isn't amateur hour." I also began preparing my own financial documentation. I gathered every bank statement, tax return, and investment record from our 15-year marriage. I created a comprehensive asset inventory showing exactly what we had owned before Lisa began her asset hiding operation. Most importantly, I opened my own separate accounts and began quietly moving some funds to protect them from further theft. In June 2021, Lisa finally made her move. I came home from work to find divorce papers sitting on the kitchen counter. Lisa was nowhere to be found. She had moved out while I was at the job site. The divorce petition was brutal. Lisa was claiming that our marriage was irretrievably broken due to my financial irresponsibility and business failures. She alleged that I had squandered the marital assets through poor business decisions and that there was very little left to divide. Her financial disclosure, filed with the court, claimed we had only $50,000 in total marital assets. According to Lisa's filing, I had destroyed our financial security through bad investments and business losses. It was a masterpiece of financial fiction. Lisa had stolen over $500,000 and was now blaming me for its disappearance. But she had made one critical error. She didn't know that I knew exactly what she had done. The divorce proceedings began in August 2021, and Lisa's attorney came out swinging. "Your Honor," he argued, "my client has been the victim of financial abuse. Mr. Patterson has squandered the marital assets through reckless business ventures and poor investment decisions. Mrs. Patterson is simply trying to salvage what little remains." Lisa played her part perfectly. She sat in court looking sad and victimized, occasionally dabbing her eyes with tissues as her lawyer described my alleged financial irresponsibility. When it was my turn to present evidence, I stood up with 3 thick binders and a laptop. "Your Honor," I began, "my ex-wife has conducted one of the most sophisticated asset-hiding operations I've seen in my 15 years as a forensic accountant and business owner. Over the past 18 months, she has systematically moved over $500,000 in marital assets into accounts and investments that only she controls." The judge looked skeptical. "Mr. Patterson, those are serious allegations. Do you have evidence to support these claims?" I opened my laptop and connected it to the courtroom display. "Your Honor, I have bank records, email communications, cryptocurrency wallet addresses, offshore account documentation, and photographic evidence of Mrs. Patterson's asset-hiding activities." For the next 2 hours, I presented a forensic accounting masterclass. I showed the judge Lisa's email communications with international banking specialists. I traced the movement of funds from our joint accounts to her secret accounts. I presented evidence of the shell company she had created to buy real estate. The most dramatic moment came when I revealed the cryptocurrency evidence. I had traced $85,000 in Bitcoin purchases to wallet addresses that only Lisa controlled. "Your Honor," I said, pulling up the blockchain records, "these transactions show Mrs. Patterson converting marital assets to cryptocurrency and storing them in wallets she created using her maiden name." Lisa's attorney tried to object, but the evidence was overwhelming. Lisa herself had gone completely pale and was whispering frantically with her lawyer. The judge's final ruling was everything I had hoped for. "Mrs. Patterson," the judge said sternly, "you have committed serious financial fraud during these proceedings. You deliberately concealed marital assets and provided false information to this court." The judge ordered Lisa to return all hidden assets immediately and awarded me 70% of the recovered funds as compensation for her fraudulent behavior. She was also ordered to pay my legal fees and was held in contempt of court. But the most satisfying moment came when the judge addressed Lisa directly. "Mrs. Patterson, you chose the wrong person to deceive. Mr. Patterson's forensic accounting background allowed him to uncover your scheme completely. This court will not tolerate financial fraud." In the end, I recovered $485,000 of the $500,000 Lisa had hidden. The remaining $15,000 had been spent on legal fees for her asset-hiding operation. Lisa had to liquidate the cryptocurrency, close the offshore accounts, and sell the secretly purchased real estate. She ended up with less than $100,000 from our 15-year marriage. Looking back, I realized that Lisa's biggest mistake was trying to financially deceive someone who investigated financial deception for a living. She had studied my techniques during our marriage, but she didn't understand that I could use those same techniques to investigate her. The case became somewhat famous in forensic accounting circles. My old colleagues still use it as an example of how thorough documentation and patient investigation can expose even sophisticated financial fraud. Today, I'm remarried to a wonderful woman named Jennifer who knows my entire story. We have completely transparent finances, and she jokes that being married to a forensic accountant means she could never hide money even if she wanted to. Lisa disappeared after the divorce was finalized. I heard through mutual friends that she moved to another state and changed her name. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger or confrontation, it's simply being better at the game than the person trying to play you.